It started on a boat. Legend has it that in the 1920s, Joseph Kennedy, the patriarch of the family, got into a heated argument with a rabbi on an ocean liner. History is hazy on the details. Maybe it was about money. Maybe it was an insult. Joe Kennedy was known for his temper and his arrogance. But the story goes that the rabbi looked Joe Kennedy in the eye and cursed him. He said that tragedy would befall his male heirs, that his family would rise to the highest heights, but they would keep nothing. At the time, Joe laughed. He was one of the richest men in America, a bootlegger turned banker turned ambassador. He was about to build a dynasty. But look at the timeline. His first son exploded in midair. His second son assassinated. His third son assassinated. His daughter killed in a plane crash. 1 death is a tragedy. 2 is bad luck. But 10? That is a curse. But here is the secret the history books won't tell you. The curse wasn't magic. It was a cover-up for something much darker, hubris. To understand the fall, you have to understand the climb. Joseph Kennedy Sr. didn't just want to be rich. He wanted to be king. He made his fortune in the stock market and, allegedly, by selling illegal alcohol during Prohibition. He was a man who believed rules were for other people. He raised his 9 children with one brutal motto: "We want no losers around here." He pitted them against each other. He timed their swims with a stopwatch. He demanded perfection. But there was one child who couldn't keep up. Her name was Rosemary. She was the eldest daughter, beautiful, curvaceous, and kind. But she had been deprived of oxygen at birth. She had learning disabilities. She had mood swings. As she grew into a young woman, she became rebellious. She would sneak out of the convent at night. Joe Kennedy was terrified. He was planning to run his sons for president. He couldn't afford a scandal. He couldn't afford a daughter who might get pregnant out of wedlock. So in 1941, he made a decision that would stain his soul forever. Without telling his wife, Joe took 23-year-old Rosemary to a mental hospital for a new, experimental procedure, a lobotomy. The details are the stuff of nightmares. The doctor, James Watts, used an instrument that looked like a butter knife. Rosemary was awake for the surgery. The doctor asked her to recite the Lord's Prayer and sing "God Bless America." He cut into her brain. He kept cutting. He asked her questions. And he didn't stop until she became incoherent, until she stopped singing. The surgery was a failure. It didn't fix her. It destroyed her. It turned a vibrant young woman into a person with the mental capacity of a 2-year-old. And then, Joe Kennedy did the cruelest thing of all. He erased her. He sent her to an institution in Wisconsin. He told people she was teaching in the Midwest. Her name was never mentioned at the dinner table again. Her own mother didn't visit her for 20 years. Rosemary was the first sacrifice. But she wouldn't be the last. While Rosemary sat in a silent room, the curse came for the golden boy. Joe Kennedy Jr. was the star. He was the one supposed to be president, not Jack. It was World War II. Joe Jr. volunteered for a suicide mission, Operation Aphrodite. The plan was insane. He would fly a plane packed with 21,000 pounds of explosives. It was essentially a flying bomb. He was supposed to arm the explosives in midair, then parachute out before the plane crashed into a Nazi fortress. But on August 12, 1944, over the English Channel, something went wrong. A spark. A glitch. There was no body to bury. The plane simply vaporized in the sky. Joe Sr. was devastated. His dream was dead. So he turned his eyes to his second son, the sickly, skinny playboy, John. But death wasn't done. 4 years later, it came for the rebel. Kathleen Kennedy, known as Kick. She was the favorite sister. She had defied her strict Catholic mother by marrying a Protestant British lord. She was ostracized by the family for following her heart. In 1948, she boarded a small plane in France to fly into a storm. The turbulence tore the plane apart. She crashed into the mountains. When her father, Joe Sr., went to identify her body, he was the only one. Her mother refused to attend the funeral. The family was cracking, but the world didn't see the cracks. They only saw the glamour. The 1960s. The Kennedy era. They looked like American royalty, but behind the smiles they were tempting fate. JFK was a medical wreck. He had Addison's disease, his bones were crumbling, and he was taking a cocktail of amphetamines and painkillers just to stand up straight. He lived every day like it was his last because he knew it might be. He famously said, "If someone wants to shoot me from a window with a rifle, nobody can stop it, so why worry?" After Dallas, the weight fell on Bobby. Robert Kennedy wasn't like Jack. He was intense. He was a crusader. He blamed himself for his brother's death. He thought maybe the mafia had killed Jack to get back at him. For 5 years he walked around like a ghost. He wore his brother's old flight jacket. In 1968, he finally found the strength to run for president. He wanted to heal the country. He won the California primary. He walked into the kitchen of the Ambassador Hotel, and the curse was waiting for him. 2 brothers. 2 bullets. The dream was over. That left only one, Teddy, the youngest brother, the baby. He was never meant to carry the load. And in 1969, under the weight of it all, he broke. July 18th, Chappaquiddick Island. Ted drives his car off a wooden bridge into a tidal pond. He escapes. But his passenger, 28-year-old Mary Jo Kopechne, does not. This is the most damning moment in Kennedy history. Ted didn't call the police. He didn't bang on neighbors' doors. He walked back to his hotel, changed his suit, and went to sleep. He didn't report the accident for 10 hours. When the diver, John Farrar, finally pulled Mary Jo out the next morning, he found the truth. Her body wasn't in the back seat. Her face was pressed against the floorboards, tilted upward. She hadn't drowned. She had suffocated. There was an air pocket in the car. She had been alive for hours, breathing in the dark, waiting for a hero who was back at the hotel sleeping. Ted Kennedy went on television and asked the world if some awful curse hung over his family. But for Mary Jo's parents, it wasn't a curse. It was cowardice. The curse didn't stop with the brothers. It hunted the children. David Kennedy, Bobby's son, was 12 years old when he watched his father die on live TV. He never recovered. He turned to drugs to numb the pain. In 1984, he was found dead in a hotel room in Palm Beach, an overdose, alone. Then Michael Kennedy, another son, killed playing ski football in Aspen. It seemed like the universe was picking them off, one by one, and finally the last prince, JFK Jr., he was the hope. The one who stayed away from politics. But he had the Kennedy arrogance. On a hazy night in 1999, he decided to fly his small plane over the ocean. He had a broken ankle. He wasn't trained for the dark. He crashed into the Atlantic, taking his wife and her sister with him. The timeline that started on a boat ended in the water. Joseph Kennedy Sr. wanted a dynasty that would last 1,000 years. He got it, but the price was everything he loved. Was it a hex from a rabbi? Was it bad luck? Or happens when you fly too close to the sun? The Kennedys taught America that you can have all the money, power, and beauty in the world. But you cannot bribe death. This was part 2 of the United States of Secrets. If you missed part 1 on George Washington's spy ring, check the playlist. Next time, we leave Hollywood for Paris. You know the logo. You know the scent. But did you know Coco Chanel was a secret agent for the Nazis? Declassified files reveal she was Agent F7124. The perfume that smells like treason. Subscribe. The truth is stranger than fiction.